But if they are able to log in, for example, they are not able to maybe see their balance. So I log into a payment. I'm able to log in, but I can't see my balance. But still, I can see transfer. You know that that risk, that impact is not as high as not being able to log in. So in terms of risk and impact, you say that the login service, that user service, take priority more than the wallet service, which is the one that enables you to see your balance and all that. Right? Yeah. Then we have another one called success metrics. Now you have to determine what success means to you if you are launching big. Now, if you are launching big, ideally just so that everything should work fine. For example, I normally use e-commerce, for example, because most of us use it through it. So, and I'm trying to, I just want to use e-commerce. So, if you're launching big and you feel that, oh, success to me is that a week after launch or 24 hours after launch, I should have 500K downloads. That's the metric for you. That can be what some people are chasing. What some people are like, oh, if I launch after 24 hours, I should have a million transactions, a million people checking out, people depositing, people funding their wallet, people buying stuff. That's the success metrics for some people. Right? Why for some people, success metrics is that, oh, after I launched this e-commerce and everything and everything and everything, people are actually able to get goods delivered to their doorstep. Like they are able to use the app, order the goods, and the goods they get delivered. And so you have to define what success means to you if you are launching big jobs, because that will make you know where your priority is. Right? So, for example, if somebody that has a goal of a million sign up, if I have the goal of a million sign up, the way I will plan my launch will be different from someone that wants people to check out the product and the good gets delivered, right? So the way you plan your launch, the way you do the advert and everything, all those things will come they will come in from the things you define as a success metrics. Then the third one is environment setup. I'm not trying to, I don't know possible, I don't want to go too technical. Now this environment setup is, if you are launching to production, it's different from launching it's different from it's working on your computer. I know that as a as a product manager, we've had cases where you say, oh, you tell the engineer that, oh, this is not working. And the guy tells you that, oh, he's working on my computer. He's working on my local host. Yeah, and you're like, oh, he's not working still. And when you tell you that he's working on your local host, now, what's happening? That's the environment. So if you think that it can be working on this particular environment, let's say development environment, but it's not working on production. It can working in beta. It's not working in production. Now, if you are launching big, means that if you have the environment set up, number one is that if you have what we call the dev environment, which are some of us are familiar with, right? Yeah, so you have the environment. The dev environment is, oh, this engineer has written their code. After writing their code, they will push it to this environment where probably the QA or you as the team cannot take a look. Right? That's what they call dev environment. So it's like a dev playground where people they push their code, right? Before they push the code. That's dev environment. Then the second one is most organizations. Second one is they have staging environments where after pushing to dev, you move to staging. So that staging is a place where things are a bit stable. So people don't really push on stable code to staging. And that's where most QA engineers, most people test on staging. Right? Because I assume that there's a bit of stability on stages. Now, before you now move. Then after that, some people have what we call beta or pre-prod. Now, that pre-prod is a mirror of production. In fact, some in some softwares, in some organizations, the pre-prod, the credentials used for the pre-prod are the same credentials that happen on prod. So it means that if you the credential we use to login details are used for production itself. That same login details will work for a pre-prod or beta environment. Right? So you have those things set up. Why? Because you are launching big and you have to, as much as possible, control control the you have to test at different environments. Test at different environments. Ensure that things that are working here are also working here, and they are well tested there before you migrate here. Then okay, they are working on them, but staging is breaking. It means that we are not good to go yet. Or they're working on staging on prod is breaking. It means that we can't use this software yet. Right. So you have to set up your environment. I did before environment or three environment, depending on how the organization wants it. So you set those guys up so that so after the staging the beta, which is like the pod, then you can talk about production. Because at times you can deploy it to production. It won't work in production, but it is working in your beta or working in your staging. And you have to have those environment set up. Now. Then we call something, there's something I did not include here, which is commonly used called feature flag. Most organizations use it. It's called feature flag. Now, if you are launching big, you need to have a rollback plan. I'm sure that most of us have seen release documentations, right? Where maybe you want to release a feature next week. The release manager will create a release documentation where you, as the product manager or the QA engineer, you scan the meter, so we are good to go. Now, in that release, at times some people put what they call feature flag, and they also put uh, the rollback plan. Now, the rollback plan means that, oh, if we deploy this and something goes wrong, how do we plan to roll it back? For example, if I'm working in WhatsApp, there's a new feature that they just launched, which will enable you to share, like I can reshare somebody's status. I don't know if you've seen it. If you post something on WhatsApp, I can reshare your status. That that is if you have enabled allow sharing from your privacy settings. So I can share your stuff, right? Now I'm sure that the engineers and the engineers at Facebook at Meta, they probably put that feature behind it. They probably put that feature behind the feature flag. And to my surprise, I'm not sure I had to update my WhatsApp app before I was able to use that feature. I'm not sure if anybody had to update. I didn't have to update on my phone. I just found out, oh, I'm able to do this. And it was not there before. Why? Because it was most likely behind the feature flag. Meaning that, oh, we built this, we've launched it, but people cannot see it yet. Why? Because the feature flag is off. So maybe they now read it and said, okay, this one has been tested and tested thoroughly. Let's now just release it. They just go to the feature flag and turn it on. And once you turn it on, you can now go to your WhatsApp settings and say, oh, this thing is here. You can now start using it. Now, they will keep that in for a while to see how users use it and see if there are any issues. Oh, there are no issues. People are using it well. Now, they put it behind the feature flag. Why? So, in case, one of the reasons why in case something goes wrong, you can easily turn it off and it won't affect the app at all. So in case something goes wrong, they will say, oh, everybody on the power app, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they just know, nothing like that. They just go to the dashboard and turn it off and everybody will find. It means that you can't use that particular feature, that particular type. Needs to work on it. So that's a feature flag. And also, some people also use it for control testing. For example, I want to launch this feature to some users, right? I want to launch it to some people in the UK, not US, some people in Nigeria, not Ghana. So they can maneuver all those things behind the system flag and do that, right? So that's about strategy and planning. Like if you're launching big, you have to put all those things in place. In case something happens, you can easily go back. Then let's move to technique and tools. So this is a bit technical, but I thought not to be technical. So this technical and tools talks about okay, the first one is automated testing. Now, if you are launching big, right, you think that after you launch, there will be so many features afterwards. Now, this automated testing means that I have launched, right? Now, those tests that the QA engineers do manually, let's now automate it. Why? In case something breaks, they can easily detect it. Right. So this is where we talk about. So you're automating the test means that um let me give you a scenario. right? I've did Facebook or what? Let me use WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp, people are not using WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is big, right? Now, they've tested WhatsApp manually and everything is working. People are using it. Now, what they can do is now to automate the test for WhatsApp. Now, if you automate WhatsApp test, I just said that most people, so this is basically keyway directly related, but it's something we can also learn. Now, if you automate the test for WhatsApp, means that WhatsApp is now in because people are using it. If I automate the test, right now, if somebody ship a code to WhatsApp and they push to production, right, and something happens, maybe uh the code probably is breaking something, maybe something in user profile or setting, maybe something that I missed somewhere. So far the test is automated and is part of the pipeline. The automated script will detect that, oh, there's an issue here, and will flag it immediately. So if you flag it immediately, so the engineers and the PM and stakeholders, oh, there's something wrong, let's see what is breaking. Right. So I did the people automate their regression test. I'm that we heard about the regression test. Regression test is, oh, regression test is okay. We are launching a feature. We want to be sure that nothing else is broken. So the key will test the feature and test other existing features. They say that okay, this new feature has not broken any other thing. So I did say that those that regression is being automated and part of the pipeline so that any new features won't break won't break existing features. Then there's performance and load testing, which so I'll talk a bit about this. It is basically you trying to see, oh, how will this app perform under large amount of users, million users, 2 million users. So you are triangulating it. You are testing the API. And we something called JMeter in the QA world. It's something called JMeter. You need to test your API to see even your UI to see how the system will perform on that load. Then there's one interesting thing called chaos engineering. Now I'll say here a little bit because now this is directly related to testing at scale. Why? Chaos engineering now at Netflix, there's something interesting that they do at Netflix. They do this thing called chaos engineering. What is chaos engineering? It's basically you putting your software under the most severe conditions that can ever be. What are the severe conditions? If I'm using Netflix, the worst thing that can happen is that, okay, let me use Netflix with a 1G or a 2G. I don't need 2G. Let me use Netflix with 2G Glow, right? That's a very extra network. 2G Glow on a maybe one ITEL 1G phone, 1 gig phone. No, that is like an extreme one edge condition that, oh, how will Netflix behave under that particular scenario on a 2G network, a 1 gig RAM phone, right? Low end phone, right? Even on a button phone, those low end phone that and it hangs and hangs and hangs. So Netflix engineers, they do something like that. So they put their software under the most severe conditions that can ever be, right? Offline, online, and all those things. Why? They want to see what is the worst that can happen to this software. Like now, because they are able to simulate that scenario on their end, and they've created systems to capture it. That's why those guys they can go and sleep at night, right? Now they can go and sleep at night. They fully aware that, oh, we've put our system in the most severe condition, and it still withstand it. It did not break. It was still at least functional, right? So now you as a PM, if you are launching, you have to ensure that your QA engineers and your engineers and you yourself, you put your system under the most severe of conditions. Like they can pass through severe conditions. Whether I mean severe conditions, you use them on a software. If you are launching to the Nigerian market, you can't produce for the phones people are using. Like people use low Android phone. In fact, some people will want to open your app on a Nokia phone. This from Nokia phone. From Nokia phone that have app store in it. Now you have to be able to test in that condition. Okay, if I install this app on the Nokia phone, what even happens and all that. So you have to prepare uh for that particular scenario. I don't have time again, so let me just keep it this way. Then On culture and process, now, if you are launching this, you have to be big on culture, and you need to have process, right? You need to have one of them is the rollback process, where the rollback is if things go wrong, which nobody plays that things go wrong, but things can go on. You need to have a plan to do that. Then there is something called skilless mentality. Now, this is directly related to any test planning. Now, this skilless mentality is basically you testing at the start of the development phase. Yeah, it's making sure that those the softwares, the QAs, they are testing the product at the early stage of development. So as the developers are developing it, the testing is ongoing. Right? Then we have DevOps integration. This one is basically talking about automated tests, right? Automated tests. So if I automate my test, it has to be in the pipeline. Like you have to set up all those CI/CD environments on it, so that in case there's any new code change, it doesn't break automated things. So the DevOps will set up all these ones in the pipeline. Then there's also a feedback loop, means that there are some apps that if you open them and something goes wrong, I don't know if you see some app like that. If you open them and something goes wrong, you have a place that tells you, oh, report bug. I don't know if you see something like that before. There's always a pop-up that comes up. If you see me, please can give a thumbs up. The app is we've not seen it before. Okay, okay, no problem. So there are some apps that have that functionality, report bug. You see that the app is able to detect that, oh, this user is trying to do this, but is not able to. Something is wrong somewhere. Then they bring like a pop-up. They tell you report bug. Some people go as far as possible are telling you to put a screenshot and tell you what was wrong. That's that is kind of a feedback loop, right? So you report the bug, they see it and see, oh, that's basically them that they feedback from users. So they can see it from their own system, oh, this person reported this, let's look into it, is it a bug, this something will fix and all that, right? That's basically feedback loop. Then there's one on monitoring and observability, right? So I would not want to exceed the time, but there's something I also want to speak on. I think I have just like 3 minutes, 3 minutes left right now, and this is where a bit of I want to talk about more a bit of testing. Right now, if you are launching this, there are basically three tests you must not ignore, and this one comes in development because if you ignore it, you are basically how do I put this? You are pushing the evil day forward. Now, if you're launching big means that you have to dig on code quality. Right? Code quality means that, uh, and one of them is unit test. Now, you have to, as much as possible, encourage your dev. And I'm sure that most times it's in the hands of the engineering manager or head of engineering to do this. But the dev have to write unit tests. So you need to encourage unit tests in development. Right? So as they are building a system, they're writing unit test for it to ensure that some issues, some functional issues do not even come up. There's something called integration test as well, which the storm has to write. Now, unit test is they basically writing a test for a small component of the system. This is a component of the system in isolated form. Now, why integration test means that they're writing test for like a module, login, forgot password, like together like that. They're writing tests for all those. And then there's something called end-to-end test, which is basically like some at times the QA writes it, right? They are those type of tests. That's like automated test. That's where those things, right? They come up. And if you're also launching big, you need to consider third-party services. Like these are just so I have like 2 minutes more. Now you need to consider third parties. Now, as you are launching big, can your third party launch big with you? Just imagine you are building an app and your target is 5 million users, and you are relying on, let's say, a third party. Meanwhile, that third party cannot carry 500K users. You see that there's already a disaster. Your system can carry 1 million users, but the party you are using cannot carry 500K users. Right? You see that there's already an issue, right? So you have to fix that. Then there's also we call software versions and configuration. Now, if you are launching the okay, like I always say, I enjoy WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is a generic stuff, right? Now, you see that there are some messages you will get on an outdated WhatsApp that you can't open the message. They tell you that this version of your WhatsApp is not supported, something like that. Yeah, it means that those people they put that version control and configuration into their plan, such that they make it such that this particular feature can only work on version 28 upward, can only work on version 0.32 upward, right? So all those things you have to put them into consideration. Then one thing on monitoring and observability I want to mention is that if you are not in it, you need to have a place where you monitor your logs. For example, if users come and say, "Oh, this my this my account, I'm not able to sign in, I'm not able to log in," and they are able to replicate it, there should be a place, or probably I'm not able to check out, or I'm not able to add product to cart. You should have a log system such that if they are doing this, you can easily trace what the error is. Right? So there should be a log system before you log to a million users. You have to put those things in place. A login and monitoring system where you see all those things, right? The error with and everything. Then one of the last things I will say is if you are launching the is good. Oh, my slide is not moving. Actually, this page is the page I'm showing. So I'm talking about all these key points here. Right. Yeah, I'm talking about all these key points here. Most of them cannot copy that now. For someone that has the question, yeah, I'm not moving the slide. Yes, I'm not moving the slide. Yeah. Then if you're launching big, you need to have metrics dashboards. Like I'm sure that in the PM world we've heard about there's a tool they use for monitoring. For example, if you know how people use the software to do there's one I forgot the software that does that where you can monitor users using your app and people that are turning. Right, you can easily do that. Right now, I don't waste my time with up or I still have a little bit of okay. So before I wrap up, I don't know if there are questions. Are there any questions? So,
Okay. Ayo, you can go ahead to speak. And if you cannot speak, you can just drop your question in the chat session. Ayo, if you want.
Sorry, can I speak?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you, Orji, for this presentation. I'm Ayo, if you want, a QA engineer with a little above a year of experience. With the rise of artificial intelligence, right? Um, how would you say what would you say to someone who is trying to transition from manual testing into automation testing? That's one. How can we leverage on AI? And also, how can we leverage on AI for our manual tests?
okay, leverage AI for manual tests, then leverage AI for automated tests. That is the question.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so for manual tests, one of the ways we can leverage AI is to assist you in creating test cases. Now, remember the word I use, assist, not write test cases for you. Assist. Why assist? Now, AI, is basically garbage in, garbage out. Like things I give it, right? I give it this. Maybe you give it the Figma design and user story, right? And AI is able to generate test case for you. But you and I know, they are QA engineer, okay? So you must have known that for those test cases, most of those bugs, right? most of those bugs, the test case that AI will generate for you, most times won't catch it, except if it is a very obvious bug. There are some scenarios that AI cannot just generate for you. You just have to sit down and look at the app holistically. Like now, there are some, okay, for example, I'll give an example one time. He said that they launched a product and the product, I think, is a dashboard, and you have to log into that dashboard, log in before you can do certain things, right? If I log into the dashboard, then I click, and maybe I click on dashboard, and I click on something, let's say, sales, dashboard sales. I'll see my base URL slash dashboard slash sales, right? Now, the guy said that when they launched the product, we figured out that users were having complaints on that sales page. You're like, why are they having complaints? You was able to do this on the government. Until we now found out that people are not really logging in to that from dashboard to sales. They're basically copying the URL directly and pasting it into the software, and they are having issues. So that edge case there was no way AI could, it's rare for AI to catch that test case for you. Right? So it means that's why I said the word assist. So AI will assist you while you have to look at that software and the test cases from user stories and your experience of the software, like your domain knowledge of the software. That's for manual testing, this kind of test cases. Right? Then the second one for automation testing is that AI can make more time help you delegate code. For example, if you are automating a playwright or Cypress maybe for your UI, right? And you give the AI can basically generate most of those codes for you. And except the part of the locators. So most times you have to put locators there. Then AI will generate codes for you. Either you are using a project object model or normal this thing. Then if I want to go further, there are some softwares now. I know of one called Browser Stack. Now, that software, what you don't have to do for that software is put your URL there and your credentials. The software generates automated code for you. Honestly speaking, let's say it's an e-commerce site. They put an e-commerce site and give you the credentials and tell you that, oh, help me automate the checkout process. The guy will basically generate those scripts for you, right? Including the locators. So AI, I think it's called Percy. They call it Percy. PERCY. So it generates test cases for you, generate the code for you actually. So you as a key engineer, there's no way AI will replace you, right? So it will just augment your work, right? But the person that will replace you is the person using AI, not AI itself. Yeah. So just use AI to make your life easier. Yeah. Then you're welcome. Man. Are there any other questions?
Okay, please, does anybody have any other question?
Yes, I have.
All right, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Orji, for your rendering of the technical things needed while launching, right? So, where I think I have a question is, what if this company or a company or a product you're working on is heavily API based, like everything, all of the things that is, all of the features that the product embodies is API based. What would you say should be the most important thing one should look out for, before launch?
Okay. What kind of product is? Can you give more context? Is it an e-commerce solution?
It's not ecom. It would be it's fintech, but it's not. It's
Okay.
mm,
No problem. Let me see if it's API, and probably same answer will cover it for you. So one of the things, if your product is API based, one of the things you should look out for, if it's the same tech, you have to prioritize security. Right? You are already compliant right now. You have to prioritize security because you are basically not testing the buttons, right? So let me talk about two things you have to prioritize: security and performance. Number one, why security? Now, if you are launching big, let me you said it's a fintech, right? Now, if you are launching big,
Yes.
launching an API, method of payment, and you are not doing very big, the bad guys are there. They are waiting for you to launch it. And there was a time somebody told me of one company, a startup like that, some years back, that the night they launched is the night that they lose 6 million. Right? They lost, just like that they launched first midnight by 2 a.m. They already lost 6 million. Means that the people are already waiting. And most times, people that will exploit the system, they will not exploit it via the mobile app because they can't see the network request. You normally go through the endpoint. Now, if your API is maybe it's an API that I want to send money, is not confirming, is not checking if the account name is matching the account number and the bank. It just account name, account number is matching the bank. It's not confirming the name. It's just going. Right now, if it has so you have to be very, very, very big on security. Security and part of security, there's also part of security which people probably do people overlook, right? And that is what the idempotency, right? Means that if I send money to you twice, some apps do it now. That if you send money now and you send the same amount to the same person, they tell you, hope this is not a duplicate, something like that. For example, I sent money to you 10 seconds ago, and I sent you 2K to favor, and immediately I'm not sending another 2K to favor again. Some will detect, oh, this look like a duplicate. Are you sure to proceed? So that's basically the system trying to flag. So they are putting security measures in place, right? So the API, you have to consider security, heavy on security, very heavy on security. Now, then you also have to consider performance. How will your API behave under idle, under stress? Now, if I call your API, if I'm making if a million people are making transaction consecutively for 10 hours, what will happen? Will your system fail? Will your DB collapse? Right. So those things are key things. Of course, there are some functional things which I already have like your schema is correct, of course the API is not open. There's already token, there's already basic validation. Like if I'm adding an item to cart, does that item actually exist in my system? Some apps really for the front end to do, but I think it should be from the back end. Adding an item from cart, you have to check, oh, does this item really exist in this person's store before adding it to cart? So all those things. Yeah, so is it the API based security and performance are key things to consider.
Okay, thank you very much. What if it's a marketplace?
If the marketplace,
Yes.
does it have a wallet
No, it does not. Just check out.
and it's just API?
Yes.
Okay, so if it's a marketplace,
For an MVP, actually.
MVP is not launching big now. But at the same time, well, it still counts because you are basically you have to even if it's the marketplace. Now, if the marketplace, assuming that let's assume that your MVP is so many users. Now you have one of the key things for an e-commerce is load because an e-commerce basically the products we have images. They have images ideally, and they might have so many varieties of images. They might have, for example, shirt, and I have blue shirt, white shirt, under shirt, purple shirt. Then I have different sizes, medium and all that, and I have for different ages as well. Right now, so because there's image there, image basically takes space. So you have to account for. So that's why the product performance too is
Yeah.
priority. basically for
Yeah, the kind of marketplace that I'm looking at is the Fiverr type of the Upwork type of marketplace.
okay, yes. So now for upward type of marketplace, if you are launching now, the first let me run you through those things you typically look out for an API. Let me run you through it. Let me go. And the first one is the functional part. You have to first verify that this API even working. If I call it, does it give me 200? Is it validated? Hope I'm not able to call it without a token. Right now, if I repeat two requests at the same time, what happens? If I do a multiple, like checking out an item that does not exist, what happens? For example, I've already bought a yellow shirt. Somebody, I have just one yellow shirt in my store, and somebody, okay, a fiver. If it's a fiver, means that people are requesting for work, right? And people want to work with freelancers. Hello?
Yes, yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, yeah, for a fiver, you have to go through the functional testing. You have to look at the function. Is it working properly? Those code operations working? Is it handling error properly? Right? Then you have to now move to the integration testing. Basically, how the UI will consume it. So even though an API, is it UI ready? Right? So in the API at times the UI is expecting an array and it's still a string. Like are all those things there, like are the now, the event, if it's an API that depends on the state and trigger, you be like, oh, are you using like Kafka or Webbook? Are those events being sent properly? You have to check all those. This was like part of the institution test. They just talk about the the reliability and the resilience test. That is, if you are calling this multiple times, what happens? If I call your API, if I call your API with a 2G in the middle of the night during rain, the day before the network is bad, what happens? Does it just load? How long does it take before the times out? Now you have to put all those things into consideration. Then you also have data-based validation, validation and schema testing. So you use basically validating, oh, is it a JSON API or is it an XML, right? Where I'm expecting a JSON, a JSON and all those things. Are there any missing feed? How will we undo a low value and all those things? Right? Before talking about the security part, that is the SQL injections, like can it pass SQL injection, test for SQL injection, command injection, payload manipulation. If I manipulate the payload, if I put um, an ID from somebody, but it's a different customer ID for somebody else. Will it work for it? All those things. That's why I talk about data protection as well. Like, for example, if people are logging in, at times, if you are logging in, you put your username and password. The idea is that after putting your password, the system should encrypt your password. Right? So people should not even see the password in the DB. Is that API really doing that? Is protecting sensitive data really doing that? Like now, how is the API handling authentication and authorization? Is it in the API key, using O or JWT? Right, so those are all the things. Then you do a bit of security scanning where you use tools like OWASP, Bobsuit, and Postman also have some security scanning as well. They now move to the performance and the load, right? Which I talked about. Oh, how long will this perform? For 10 hours. 100 people calling it for 10 hours. What happens? Now, if it's a e-commerce platform, there's something there's something we call price. Please give me 1 second.
No, you can
Now,
continue, Mr. Archie.
hello? Yeah, there's something we call price testing. Price testing is basically that, okay, assuming that I announce a promo, like, okay, let's say 12 p.m. tomorrow, I'll be having a promo. Now, you know that 12 p.m., I'm expecting a surge in user traffic and people will come in. So at that particular point, what happens? Does your API break under that surge? The sudden spike, you've been having 1,000 users, 1,000 users, then suddenly you just have 1 million users. What happens? Can system withstand that? There's also something called stress testing. That stress is basically testing for a very long time. And you are increasing, let's say, by 1 p.m., I have 100 users. By 2 p.m., I have 1,000. 3 p.m., I have 10,000, like that. I'm increasing it at intervals. What happens? Does it break? And all that. Now, there's something also called throughput. Now, how many requests per second can your API handle? And how long will it take? The response time. If I call your API, now ideally most times an API should give me a response within 200 milliseconds, less than 200 milliseconds. I can't response. Does the API do that? So these are the big things you want to check for the API. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mr. Orji. Please, does anybody have any question? Okay, in light of none, there's a final question I'd like you to just, like an advice. I'm sure we'll have a lot of people working in startups here. What would be your advice for startups or teams that want to launch big, but you have limited resources, you have enough funds to do all the major testing, but you really want to launch big and do a lot of product testing before you go into your launching? What's your advice for such teams?
Okay, for such team, what you should do is what they call canary releases. So canary releases that I'm targeting a million users, right? But I don't have the resources for a million users. Let me roll out to 1,000 users first, 10,000 users first. So you are releasing now. The stuff is ready, right? But you don't just want to launch it. It's not really ideal to launch to a million users when you've not launched to 100,000 users, right? So you basically have to. So you do something called canary release. Means that you are going out your release in chunk, like little by little, monitor the error. Roll out to 10,000 users for like a month, see how the stuff perform, right? Are there any issues, see some issues that are coming up? Oh, okay, after a while, 10,000 is stable. A friend like open up the release cycle again to 100,000, then monitor it again and see are errors coming up, is there a rollback, are users impacted? Oh, this system is working, okay, there are some issues with 100K, but we are monitoring, we are fixing it. After a while, okay, we are now stable. So we have 100K users using it and there are minor issues. Now expand again for 500K users, then monitor again. 500, okay, there are some issues we are fixing, rollback and all that. As we are releasing chunk by chunk, little by little, you are monitoring how system is behaving. So that by the time you are releasing to a million users, you're already confident that if anything happens, I'll just go back to my 500. Right. So because you are because you are able to release bit by bit, you are able to monitor the impact. You are able to manage your users. Right. So you are able to monitor how the system will behave and all that. So that's what our advice. Do canary release and do feature flags. Right. If your team is small, you have to be able to do always hide your all your features, maybe new features, not to visit it. Hide it then the feature flag, right? So you need a feature flag in case something happens, you can easily roll back. Now, even in that feature flag, say you use feature flag even in canary releases. So I want to give to people only, let's say in Lekki, or I want to give to only this particular users that have 50K in their account only, or people that have less than 10K in their account. Now, you can use Twitter flag to do all those kind of things. Right? So you have those features for everybody, but you are monitoring how you are using it bit by bit, by bit. So it won't be a loop. Like, so that's basically my advice on how you can do that.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Hodgie. Okay, we have it in the
Okay.
chat session here. Can you share your slide with us? Is it possible?
So it's not a slide, is a
Okay.
one of, yeah, I'll share it with you. Yeah, yeah, I'll share it with you.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I'll share it with you. Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was actually attending to something. Yeah.
Yeah. I will share it with you.
Okay, you send it to me. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'll drop my phone number in the chat session, and anybody that needs it can DM me on WhatsApp. All right. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Okay, so I'd like to appreciate everyone for joining us on today's product session. It's been a wonderful time, and I'm sure we have learned one or two things tonight. And yeah, so like I said earlier, this session is brought to you by InnovaLab. Um, InnovaLab is a product management institute here in Nigeria, and we've trained thousands of people in product management. So we have programs like technical product management, AI product management, growth product management. So you can send your people to us, even if you're not a product manager, or if you're already a product manager, you can send your people to us. And yes, so once again, I would like to appreciate Mr. Orji for this wonderful session. And I'd like to say good night to everyone. You can send your emojis to just appreciate Mr. Orji. Do have a nice night and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye. Okay, Mr. Olariwaju, you can. Sorry. You can message me on WhatsApp. Since you said you need the slide, you can message me on WhatsApp.